Boom shakalaka, what's going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, we're taking a look at a very interesting topic, what Bitcoin is going to do over the next 6 months. We're going to plot it out with charts, with real numbers, give us actual price predictions for the next 6 months. Based on 3 different scenarios, we have a time-based 4-year cycle scenario, a sentiment-based scenario, and one hidden scenario that I don't think anyone is taking a look at yet that we're saving until the end. You definitely want to stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, we are taking a look at 3 distinct Bitcoin scenarios to determine what Bitcoin is going to do over the next 6 months with actual price predictions, both highs, lows, and averages. Why are we doing this? Well, the market is very unsure right now. Some people think the cycle's over. Some people think it hasn't even begun. And really, most people just want to make money. I mean, you don't want to hang on to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and have the market go down. You don't want to sell now and then have the market go up. So we're going to take a look at 3 interesting scenarios. The last one, absolutely, you definitely want to stay tuned till. What are they? Well, one is a simple 4-year halving type strategy. This is the type of thing like buy 500 days before the halving, sell 500 days after the halving, easy buy, sell Bitcoin. The next scenario is a sentiment-based method based on how people are feeling, how that dictates Bitcoin price. And the third scenario, the most interesting of them all, you definitely want to stay tuned till the end because this scenario just might blow your mind, and I don't think anybody's talking about it yet. So let's get into it. So this is the first scenario I want to take a look at. This is the time-based scenario. This is for the people who think Bitcoin has 4-year cycles. That is immutable. It could be the buy Bitcoin 500 days before the halving, sell 500 days after. But basically this whole group of thought that the cycle's over and Bitcoin is going down. Now, there is reason in this. Bitcoin has done this time and time again. But for this to be true this cycle, well, the pi cycle top would have to be wrong for the first time. And a lot of other charts would have to be wrong for the first time. So one would break or the other would break. And you kind of have to decide which. Now, let's take a look at this. If you take a look on the right side here above my head, these are the bar patterns for every time after the halving. Basically, from one halving to the next halving, these blue lines are the halvings. And I just started them at this halving, which would put them in the same time, and then started the price from where the price is today. Now, if we take a look from where we are today, the green line, to 6 months from now, the red line, that shows all of them has pretty much a price dropping. And that's why a lot of people are scared right now, because they think, hey, cycle's over, price is going to drop pretty much for a year from the top, price goes down. And that's what this says right here. Pretty much for a year from a few months ago, from about September, price is going to go down until about November of next year, suggesting maybe lows as low as $28,000. But in the next 6 months, we would be looking somewhere between $60,000 and $34,000 for Bitcoin, depending upon which cycle you look at. So all of these scenarios are very scary. None of them have the price going up from where it is now. But again, for this to be true, something has to break this cycle, the pi cycle top, many other charts that suggest we haven't seen a top. So you have to decide, do you think this is going to be a time-based cycle again, with price dictated by miners potentially, or has something changed this cycle where maybe big money is taking over and there's more money in Bitcoin than can be influenced by miners and a few whales? So this is the next scenario. This is the scenario based on sentiment, which is how people are feeling towards Bitcoin. And this is something I mentioned in a couple of the past videos I made, where if we take a look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, and again, you'll have to take a look at this yourself, but behind my head, or maybe I'll just scroll up for you, you can see that it dips very low to this line of 10. This has only happened a small number of times in history. And if we plot on the chart every time that happened, that is these orange arrows right here. And you can see that every single time this was a local bottom for Bitcoin, and a few times it was a cycle bottom or a pandemic style bottom for Bitcoin. So if we plot right now what Bitcoin is doing based on sentiment, which is people's feeling, well, that would be these lines right here. And over the next 6 months, you can see that some go up, some go down, some go sideways. And this would give us values somewhere between $50,000 and $196,000 for Bitcoin within the next 6 months. So clearly different from the chart based on time alone. This is based on sentiment, or how people are reacting, how the market is reacting to Bitcoin price. And based on this, there is a wide variety between $50,000 and $200,000. That would be averaging roughly about $125,000 per Bitcoin, which is right where Bitcoin price was before there was the panic that set in over the past month. Now, for this to be true, well, Pi cycle top would still be intact, because potentially if price went up, we could have a Pi cycle top later. But what would have to break is the 4-year cycle, because if this had happened, then the cycle would probably be longer, and this buy Bitcoin 500 days before, sell 500 days after would be wrong. Which brings us to our third scenario. And this is a scenario that I don't think anyone has taken a look at yet. But this is one that's important to consider, because you remember earlier we were talking about how something has to break this cycle. We have to have some form of alpha decay. Either the 4-year cycles break, or a lot of the charts that we have depended on previously, like the Pi cycle top and many other charts, must break. So something has to go this cycle. Now, we already took a look to see what happens if the 4-year cycle is true, what happens if sentiment affects how people and the price of Bitcoin moves. But what about the Pi cycle top? What if this chart is true? And you're like, but how could that possibly be true? Because we only look when the lines cross. And I'll show you here. This is the Pi cycle top chart. Every time these lines, the 111-day SMA and the 350-day SMA times 2 cross, we have a top. But if you take a look behind my head, this purple graph is the Pi cycle oscillator, which tells us how far apart these lines are. When it's very far apart, we have bottoms, and when the lines cross and it's not far apart at all, we have a top. Well, right now, it is pretty far apart. As a matter of fact, the values right now are roughly 0.9. Now, bottoms we've seen between 2 and 2.5, and tops are at 0. But any time that price has been above 0.75, well, let's take a look at those times, because it happened here and here and here and here and here and here and here. So we have a lot of data points to take a look at what Pi cycle top being high, being price, these lines far apart could mean for price. And every time, if we plot that out, those peaks, Pi cycle top being above 0.75, are these blue arrows right here. Now, taking a look at this, tough to tell if this tells us anything. I mean, this is towards the bottom. This is towards the bottom. This is towards the bottom. This is at the top. Here's towards the bottom, kind of maybe midway up for these other ones. But if we plot out these lines, that's what you get right up here above my head. And while some go down and while some go up, over the next 6 months, this could have price going down to roughly $65,000, or price going up to roughly $345,000. So if you average those, you will get roughly $200,000 per Bitcoin over the next 6 months. So this is definitely the most bullish of the 3 cases we took a look at. But this is something that I don't think many people are taking a look at. And again, it's something you have to decide for yourself. Which is going to break this cycle? Is it the time-based 4-year cycle is going to break? Or is it all the charts that we relied on previously that are going to break? And unfortunately, nobody knows until we kind of look back historically to see which broke this time. So that is all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, like the video, join us on Twitter at @TheCryptoLove. Check out some of our shorts. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
Boom. Shakalaka.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, You're already a loser. From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.